we were poor and I needed money for college. And I was annoyed that they were asking me to donate to a fund that I knew nothing about when I needed that money myself. And that drove me to come up with a solution, not just for me, but for other people. There was, um, and by the way, I can't explain this to this day. After I produced the concert, I produced this concert in high school at the Westchester County Center. It was a huge success. It was 5,000 seats. It made a ton of money for the high school. But I never then said I'm a producer. I just went back to my life and that was done. And, was an English major. And until I saw another problem when I got to college as a freshman, that they had a terrible, uh, like concert program that you had to pay for. And it was like cellists and opera singers and everything the old professors wanted. And this was during like Woodstock in 1967, 68. And, the Rolling Stones and Jimi Hendrix. And they just didn't have a clue that I had to jump in, especially since it was a mandatory $25 student activity fee. I said, "You're making me pay $25 for music I don't want to hear." So I went to them and I put together a whole system based on Bill Graham's Fillmore East, because it was Bucknell, and they could come into Bucknell Thursday and then play the Fillmore East. And again, it was driven by need. And even then, I didn't think I was a concert. But, I produced at Bucknell the band, the Grateful Dead, Peter, Paul, and Mary, Judy Collins, Donovan, uh, like Sly and the Family Stone. And, it was a big deal. People my age who went to Bucknell still talk about it today. We even had a Zoom call to reminisce about it. And actually, the recording of the Grateful Dead at Bucknell in 1971 is one of the most listened to recordings of they have a whole world of recording their concerts, and it's one of the highest uh, ranked recordings because it was a small gym and the sound was fantastic. And I actually wrote a book about that called Dancing on the Seats, which was, again, an independent study because I didn't have time to go to school. It wasn't that I felt like I wanted to write a book. It started out as a paper for a class just to get through the class. I'm sounding very cynical here and not very um, optimistic, but I had to get through the class, so they said write a paper, and the professor thankfully said, "Why don't you write about, you're running it was an economics class. He said, you're running a business. Why don't you write about that?" And I wrote about producing concerts, which A&M Records got a hold of because I was a rep for them while I was in college. And that became a book. But I didn't think I was writing a book and that's what I was going to be a writer to do that, or that I was a concert promoter. I would just do things, that's that, and then move on. I mean, you've read my book. I tend to, whatever's in front of me, I just jump in and I tell everybody I wasn't qualified for any job I ever had, which kind of scares my students because like they're all spending all this time in grad school, and I never went to grad school, and I teach a lot of graduate classes. So, I'm sort of Zelig. Just, put me somewhere, I'll figure it out. People don't even remember me, and then I move on. It's a complicated answer to your question, but there you have it.